Hello, and welcome to Embracing the Fight. I am Erica Lamar, your digital creator and host. And if you've been with me since January of 2023, you'll know that Embracing the Fight is about normalizing the conversation surrounding physical and mental health issues and concerns. And I started the conversation off with my journey through thyroid cancer. So if you would take a moment, click like, click share, and subscribe to Embracing the Fight on YouTube. Now let's get down to business. Y'all see, I have a beautiful guest that is absolutely glowing on the screen. Her name is Mrs. Nakia Whittaker Woody. And in a second, I'm going to allow her a chance to explain, a little bit about herself and then casually tell how we met. But her episode is entitled Episode 54, Make Up Your Mind. Nakia?
Hello, my name is Nakia Whittaker Woody, and I am a regular old person. I just happen to have ADHD, bipolar, and an anxiety disorder. But the subject of this episode is make up your mind. So for me, make up your mind means how do you decide how your mental illness is going to impact you and what are you going to do about it? So,
Okay. And how exactly did we meet, or should I say cyber meet?
okay, we cyber met because we're both part of the Black Podcasters Network. And we connected there when you said you were looking for a guest. And I thought it was an interesting way to continue my mental health advocacy.
Okay. And just to kind of segue into what you were talking about just a second ago, you have ADHD, you're bipolar, and what else was it?
Anxiety disorder.
All right. And you have anxiety disorder. All right. So, how and when did you find out that you had all of those different things?
Oh my goodness. I found out I had bipolar disorder first.
Okay.
I found out after I had my second daughter. So that was around 2003 because I had her in 2001. I was coming home from work and I was really, really stressed out. And I decided that I thought, I didn't decide, I thought I wanted to ram my car into a tree. So I called the doctor and I'm like, look, I don't know what's going on, but this don't make no sense. And so, I went and I saw the doctor and I got admitted into the psychiatric hospital and they did all these tests. And then I started working with a psychiatrist and he diagnosed me as having bipolar disorder. I have bipolar 1. Then when I turned 30, for some reason, I was having problems concentrating at work, and that was never me. I was always very focused. The bipolar gives you the hyper focus, but then all of a sudden, it was like I couldn't focus. What is going on? So I went to the doctor, and she said she thought I had ADHD, so she sent me for this test, the worst and most frustrating test in the world. And it came back that I had ADHD. So then I had to go on medication for that. And in the midst of all of that, it also was brought out that I have anxiety disorder because I get panic attacks sometimes.
And what's interesting is when you said bipolar ADHD, it seems like those two things are on opposite ends of the spectrum. And it's like, I can understand why you're having anxiety because you're having to battle both.
Right.
So, what is it like for you, like on a daily basis, when it comes to saying, okay, I know I got to take this medication. If I don't take it, this is what can happen. What is it like for you mentally each day when you're deciding what you're going to do, whether, oh, I'm going to take the medication, I'm not going to take it, or
Okay, well, I personally made the choice to be on medication because I know that's the best version of myself. I also made the decision to be on medication because I needed to model for my daughter, who was diagnosed with bipolar when she was 4 years old. So I needed her to understand how important it was for her to be on her regimen, for her to be able to advocate for herself, for her to know when her symptoms were showing and she needed to say something. So that is why I chose to be on my medication.
okay. And has there ever been an instance when you've been on medication and you've still had some type of episode with either one or the other?
No. I had a little bit of anxiety. My daughter was murdered 2 years ago. So I had a little bit of anxiety then. And I mean, I have medication for as needed when it comes on. So other than that, I was fine. I have been completely stable on my medication. I advocate for myself and my doctor. I literally just had to remove myself off of medication because I had gained 80 pounds and I was not happy.
Oh,
Medicine was
wow.
working great,
Okay.
but I chose that that wasn't me. I
Mhm.
didn't want to be like that in my body. And I said, we got to find something else. And so we did.
So the medication that you changed from, was it a steroid of some sort that was
It
causing
was
you
not,
pain?
it was not, it was a regular bipolar med. It's used for other things too. It's used for dementia and other things, but it literally caused me to gain weight. And I did not know that was one of the side effects. And so I was a little upset because I preface any medication with, I'm only willing to gain 10 pounds.
Okay.
And so I thought it was COVID. We were at home, I was eating
Right.
out, I thought it was literally COVID weight. And then one day when I said something to her, she was like, oh, your medicine causes weight gain. I'm like, no. And so I
Like,
was
what
like,
would
that
you
got to
do?
go today. And that's what we did.
And have you had the same doctor, this entire time that you've been working
No,
with these disorders?
no. For one, finding a good psychiatrist and med management specialist is very hard, especially if you prefer a female and especially if you prefer an African American female.
Okay.
I literally have went through the stodgy old man syndrome where he just thinks you want meds and he's going to give you what you want, what he
Mm,
wants you to have, and he is very rigid and nope,
mm,
bye, gotta go.
yeah.
So I literally interview my psychiatrist when I have my first appointment, and if I don't like them, I'm out.
That is very strong. That is very vocal of you to do that, because a lot of people find themselves losing their voice and they don't know, how to really advocate for themselves. So how are you able to advocate so clearly and soundly for yourself?
Again, having to teach other people. When I first found out I was bipolar, I had people say you need to pray more. I had people say you just need to buck up and cheer up and power through it. And then when I told people in my family, it was like, well, maybe that's why I do this, and maybe that's why I do that. And so I literally became the poster child for mental health disorder in my family. So I mean, I had to show what you do and how you do it to make sure that everybody was getting the proper care and they were doing the right things and they were seeing the importance of advocating for themselves and knowing what they're willing to do and not willing to do, as well as being able to say, I'm out. My daughter, once she got to a certain age and she felt stable enough, she went off meds and she's been off meds for 10 years and she's good. So it's a personal choice.
Okay. And with her being off medication, has she changed, her diet? Have you found like certain
Mm-mm.
foods that cause, any triggers or anything like that for you
No,
or
she has been
family?
100% fine. And I'm grateful. Maybe she grew out of it. I know you can't grow out of it, but because it was very severe. I mean, she was in residential treatment and everything. It was really, really hard period for my family. So I am super grateful that she's able to manage it. I mean, she keeps her phone on do not disturb so people can't bother her when she's in her downtime. And she makes sure she has a regimen of what she needs to do to
Mhm.
stay stable. So it works for her.
Hmm. I mean, that's just interesting to hear, because you usually hear when a person is bipolar, they have to have it all the time because
Yeah.
something get triggered and you could just
Yeah,
fly
something
off the
could
handle.
trigger, but I mean, if you know yourself and you know your triggers, then you know what to do. And that's another reason to make up your mind.
Okay. Because it was interesting, in the beginning, you were saying that you were riding along and you just had this thought to like
Mhm.
crash your car for no
Mhm.
reason at all. So just that single solitary thought is what said to you, no, this is where I draw the line. I have to do, something to correct my way of thinking or correct whatever's going
Mhm.
on.
Right.
Nothing happened prior to that anyone ever noticed or said anything about.
No, I mean, when I had my first daughter at 19, I did have a similar issue in that I felt like I was going to harm her. So I called her dad and said, can you come over? Things like that. I mean, thing like that. It was only one time.
Mhm.
And so looking back, I felt like the issue was there. And then looking back on my childhood about how I loved to be alone in my room. I was very solitary, even though I had a huge family and all the things. And I loved to study, and I just, was very solitary. So I can see the pattern as
Mhm.
I was growing, but I had no idea the severity or actually that it had a name.
Mhm. And now though, let's go to the other end of the spectrum when you talk about the ADHD and you started finding yourself, not being able to focus. Were you like at work and you couldn't complete tasks?
Yes.
Or I mean, what was it like for you? Were you getting called in the office and they were saying, "Hey, Nakia, you're not, giving us what we
No,
think you can give
it's a personal thing for me. I am bragging, but I am a very smart person, and
us?"
I pride myself on being an excellent employee.
Hmm.
Um, you know, as excellent as employee could be anyway. But I pride myself on doing a really good job, and I am very fast at my tasks. And so it was taking me like a day to do something, and I'm like, well, what's going on? Like, it was never affecting deliverables or anything, but to me, it was
Hmm.
like, why am I so slow? Or in the middle of the day, I'm just sitting there wandering, you know what I'm saying? Daydreaming or scrolling on my phone, which I don't do when I'm at work.
Hmm.
So, it just became concerning to me. No one noticed it but me. And so I went to the doctor and was like, it was a regular psych visit. And I'm like, well, what is this? Because is the medicine causing me to not focus? Whereas usually I'm very hyper focused on something. And she was like, well, let's check it out.
So at no point did you say to yourself, okay, maybe I'm just not being challenged at work? Because, people who are extremely intelligent get bored, with mundane tasks
And
anyway.
that is true. I do
So,
get bored, but I am always looking for new things to do. And at this particular time, I was taking an engineering certification with my team. So
mhm,
I literally had enough on my plate trying to figure out engineering when I'm an admin.
mhm.
So I knew it was not the challenge that was bothering me. I knew something was wrong. And so that's another reason why you need to make your mind up, because you need to know yourself to be able to know what is going on with you, to say, I need to see someone, or no, this is just a fleeting moment.
Okay. And at any point did any one of your doctors tell you, any of the psychiatrists, anyone say that this was hereditary, either the
When
bipolar or
I
the
first
ADHD?
found out about bipolar, yes. And so I went to my mom because it sounded like them. And she was like, And I'm like, mm-hmm. Because like I don't notice it. I don't notice any of the traits on my dad's side. I noticed all the traits on my mom's side. But she was adamant, and everyone pretty much was like, I think so. So, it's a stigma in most families because they don't want to admit that something's wrong. That crazy uncle or that cousin that curse everybody, they don't want to admit those things.
All right. So anybody watching right now, they're sitting there wondering, am I bipolar? So what are some of the traits that they tell you, indicate that you may suffer from bipolar disorder?
If you have mood swings, there are a lot of different ways to have mood swings. I personally have issues where I spend money and I don't care what happens otherwise. So
I might be bipolar too in that case.
yeah. So it's like when you're manic, you want to do things to an excess without worrying about the consequences. So like if I would go shopping and spend all my grocery money, no, I ain't gonna do that. If I would go shopping and spend my car note money, that's gonna put me in a crunch next payday, but I just gotta go shopping and spend this money. It's like you gotta do it. And it's kind of weird that you want to do that when you know you gotta be responsible.
Mhm.
So that was something that I went through. Um, Being honest, hypersexuality is also a problem. There are times when you just want to do it. And so, some people don't like to admit that that is a thing, but it literally is a thing.
Mhm.
Sometimes I just want to sit in my room, and like I literally have sat in my room for 6 months, and I didn't want to eat and I didn't want to do anything. I just was sitting in my room.
Oh, wow.
So I mean, prolonged periods of wanting to be isolated, or
Mhm.
just isolating yourself and not really noticing that you're isolating yourself, but everybody else is like, "Girl, you want to go somewhere?" Or "Girl, why you ain't come? Why you ain't go?" When you like isolate yourself, so you
Mhm.
don't call nobody, you don't respond to messages, you just in your own world.
Mhm. So it's not like you're hearing voices. That's because a lot of people put schizophrenia and bipolar
Right?
disorder in the same little box, and it's
Nope,
totally different
totally different.
disorders. This is more of a personality disorder where you want to be left alone and you want peace and quiet. And then sometimes you do want to be bothered. And when you want to be bothered, you want to be bothered a whole lot. So
Right.
a lot of people, don't understand that. And when you say that you're bipolar, do you ever have people that judge you based off of that?
Um, I have not, but I think it's because, for one, I am very vocal, I am very present, and
Mhm.
I'm very authentic and transparent. So, like on my social, everyone knows that I'm bipolar. Everyone knows I love to drink. Everybody knows I'm gonna say what I want to say. So, I think that by probably being in the room before I'm in the room,
Mhm.
people know what to expect. And I always try to admonish people, just because I'm bipolar and I handle it a certain way does not mean everybody does. This is me.
Okay.
So you can't say, oh, my friend bipolar and shit. That ain't me.
Right. Do you have any like presence in any bipolar like advocacy groups?
I used to, but I haven't as much so far.
Mhm.
Because I literally work full time and run two businesses,
Oh,
and I
wow.
volunteer in several organizations. So
That,
I literally have not, but I do support them.
mhm,
In that, my friend, she has a organization called Mindful and Melanated, and
mhm.
it's all about having access to culturally competent therapists and physicians to help you with your mental health. So I volunteer with her organization. Um, I do volunteer with NAMI, which is a national organization,
Mhm.
and I follow a lot of organizations online and donate. So, being that I'm not physically able to help a lot, I do try to share posts and do anything that I can to support otherwise.
Okay. Excuse me.
Mhm.
And with that, you've talked about the bipolar and the ADHD, and I see how those two worlds can help you do all those things that you're talking about. Because I'd be exhausted, just thinking about it. Because I think back to when I was in high school and I played sports, and I was in all these clubs. I used to do these different speeches. I sang in a choir. I did all this stuff. Church, home. I was everywhere.
Mhm.
This age now, it's like you sit down, you take a break,
Mhm.
and you have the energy to do all these different things. So it's kind of a blessing and a curse in a sense. A
Yes.
blessing because it allows you to do these things, but it's a curse in a sense because you have to take, a medication to,
I don't think of it as a curse
okay.
in any way, because, for one, I know that the medication is required. I
Mm-hmm.
also advocate for myself to make sure I'm taking what I need to take. You're not
Mm-hmm.
gonna give me no extra crap. I'm taking what I need to take.
Right.
So, like, even with that, that extends to everything.
Mm-hmm.
I have hypokalemia, which is low potassium.
Mm-hmm.
The doctor wants me to take potassium pills. I don't. I eat fresh green vegetables every day, and that manages my potassium. So that's less medicine for me. So, I mean,
Right.
I am about making sure that I take only what's necessary for me.
Right.
And yes, it does help me, because otherwise, I have insomnia.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if I'm up at 2 o'clock in the morning, what am I doing? Either watching TV, which is wasting my time, or
Right.
I could be writing my content, or working on a business proposal, or trying to do something else like meal planning for the groceries that I have to buy. So, I mean, I use what's given to me to my advantage.
Right. And I didn't mean, a curse in that way, but
No,
I was
no.
thinking more, what's in medicines. Because I'll give you an example. Like I had to do a round of radioactive iodine.
Mhm.
And they tell you that when you have thyroid cancer, that's probably one of the best cancers that you can have because the survival rate is extremely high. And the treatment that they use only targets those particular cells, which is
Mhm.
true. However, what they fail to tell you is that same medicine that targets those cells has to come out through
Mhm.
your saliva, mucus,
Mhm.
or urine. So if you have any blockages or anything like backing up in your mouth, then you could get a secondary cancer from the
Mhm.
same medicine that was used to help get rid of the thyroid cancer. And I was just wondering if the medications that you take have any side effects, from them.
Um, Well, the medicine that I take for my bipolar, I have to take it at night because it makes me sleepy. So that's a weird thing because I have insomnia. So the insomnia doesn't go away because I take a medicine, So literally at 7:30, I take my medicine at night because I have to be out of the medicine in order to wake up for work the next morning.
Mhm.
But literally, I take it at 7:30 and I wake up every night at 1 a.m.
Oh, wow.
So that's all I sleep. Literally, that's all I sleep. So the insomnia still persists. I have medicine for the insomnia, but if I take a medicine at 1 a.m., am I waking up for work at 5?
No. Mm-mm.
No. So I
That was
literally
about 7.
just use my time. I watch the national news. I play with my cat. I will clean my room, do my laundry. Then I watch local news, and then I go to work. So I mean, I'm not wasting the time. I'm just working with what I gotta have.
I need to take a page out of your book because sometimes I wake up and I'm like, I got to go back to sleep. And I'm literally like laying down,
Mm-hmm.
putting the cover over my head, trying to, put the little mask over my
Yeah,
eyes, trying to play
ain't gonna
sounds
work.
and stuff. And it's like, just get
Hmm.
up and do
You know,
something
I
productive.
know I'm not going to sleep, so I mean, why lay there? I can be
It's true.
productive.
That's
There's
true.
other things to do in the house.
That is true. So when it comes to the anxiety portion, because we haven't really, talked about that a whole lot, do you have anything that triggers the anxiety that makes you have to take the medication? Because I know with that one, when you have anxiety medication, you take it as needed. You don't take it every day. So
Um,
what things really?
Usually, I am not a very emotional person.
Okay.
Anybody can tell you that. I am straight faced. I mean, I rarely laugh at jokes because I don't find them funny. So usually if a situation is emotional for me and I can't figure out a way to handle it,
Mhm.
it causes me to not be able to breathe or start to shake or just really feel uncomfortable. So that is usually when I take my medicine. When my grandmother died and I had to speak at her funeral, definitely needed some medicine. And even when my daughter died and I had to speak at her funeral, it was definitely one of those type of situations. But like public speaking and all that stuff, that doesn't bother me.
Right. You are an amazing individual. I mean, if the Lord had to choose somebody for something to be a poster child, or someone who could speak eloquently about it, he chose the right one. If I may say so.
I appreciate that. I am trying to break the stigma. You do not have to be sitting in your house lonely and crying. There are things to do. I mean, and even with my business, I get lonely sometimes working, and so I have a co-working link, and people in my community who I know in my business or whatever, they can hop on and share their time with me so that I'm not bored, or so I can talk out things that are swirling in my head, being that my mind is always racing, things like that. So I mean, having a community of friends that are willing to do that for me is great because I don't really go nowhere.
Okay. So is that like the Breakfast Club where a bunch of people can call in, or is this something that you
No,
do
it's just it's I
collectively?
have a Zoom link that is always open and I will let people know when I'm there. Or either they jump in and I see it on my email and I jump on. And they just sit with me while I work or they work on something while I work on something. Then we chit chat, listen to music, have libations, all the things.
That's a great idea. Because I know a lot of people that are entrepreneurs
Mm-hmm.
that are sole entrepreneurs,
Mm-hmm.
and they're
Mm-hmm.
doing everything, by themselves until they have to deliver a particular product.
Right.
And I know it has to be tough.
It does. It is. It surely is. I mean, going from being the center of attention at work with a team to literally creating the business by myself, I was very isolated. And
Mhm.
so, I mean, I started just networking with people in my industry and we started co-working and we still do it. 5 years later, we're still doing it.
Wow. And the whole time, all the stuff that you have, going on, you like, this co-work can
Mhm.
help.
Right.
It can help me
I
be
mean, it
like,
helps me with my racing thoughts
right.
because I literally have so many ideas for my business
Mhm.
that I can't get them on my head. And so it's like, can you listen to this? Oh, can you listen to this? And we literally have a project manager that they're on with me.
Mhm.
And when I have ideas, I can put it in there. And I make sure I tell them turn your notifications off because my mind works all day long and all night long. So I literally just pour stuff in there. They'll review it at their leisure and be like, Nakia, that ain't gonna work. And then they'll be like, Nakia, this one is awesome. So it helps me because it gets it out of my head. It also gives me people to talk to because I'm in the house a lot. So it really helps me function at my optimal.
Oh, wow. I mean, that you have me sitting here thinking about it because look, I'll just be honest. I have like this think tank. What I do is I take little post-its and I'm writing on it. I have hundreds of voice notes in my phone. I have little sticky notes with stuff. As soon as I think about it, I write it down, write it down, write it down, write it down, and say it out loud. Sometimes I think if somebody were here, they probably tell me you talk about that stuff in your sleep too. But since there's nobody here, nobody can complain about it, right? But in all of that, you are inspiring me to find out if I need to have, a mental health check to see if I may have ADHD. Because when I say my thoughts are all over the place and I want to do everything and I want to try everything and I want to tell everybody about this and I want to see.
Yes.
But the thing is, it's like bringing it all back together is where I struggle when it comes to me. Now, when I'm at work, I'm start to finish. But when I'm working in my world and I'm trying to build and I'm trying to put it together, I'm like, little piece here, little piece there, just, get a little piece of everything and get it rolling. And it's like, it's not coming together. And then I get frustrated. So I wonder.
Yes, I have an awesome tribe.
I
have an awesome tribe. Yeah, I started a actual Facebook group.
Okay.
And they have just been amazing for me. They build me up every day. Love them dearly. I mean, literally have not met most of them, but have met like a few of them because I'm always traveling for my business. So I mean, it's just like a wonderful thing to have. Find your tribe, and your tribe is going to support you in everything you need to do.
So
and I mean, they understand when I disappear for a little while. They understand. They'd be like, oh, she's not feeling well. And when I wake up or whatever I'm doing, if I unplug myself, I have plenty of messages. You need me to DoorDash you something to eat? Are you okay? Did you forget to take your medicine? Like my friend literally put me to bed the other night. She's like, Nakia, I understand that you want to be up, but you took that medicine and you started to slur your words. So go to bed. So, it's just the support that you need.
So that really sums it up. You found out because you advocated for yourself. You agreed to the treatment. You made the decision to take the medication and you surrounded yourself with the right support system.
That's right.
Because any one of those things missing, we don't know, what might have happened.
Right.
Like what if they did give you the medicine, but you said, I'm not gonna take it. And then what happens? Or what happens if you say, you know what, I was just having a bad day. I wasn't really gonna run my car into the wall. So what would you tell someone who's sitting here now and they're thinking, maybe I should get, a mental health check? What process would you tell them to go through? Who should they see first?
Okay. First of all, you should look within yourself to know, is this you feeling off? Or do you think this is an issue? Because if you just feel off, this is a waste of money.
Okay.
But if you feel as though this could be something, it never hurts to ask. You can go to your PCP, she can do some labs, see if maybe something's off, and you can fix it that way. You can speak to your minister. Maybe you want to pray over it. You can go to a natural place and see if a supplement might help, because you don't want to necessarily head straight to the drugs. And then if those things are not appeasing you and you feel like you still need something, find an organization that will help you find what you need. In that, I know me, I wanted to work with someone who understood me and who would be willing to work with me. Just because you got a degree don't mean you can tell me about me. And also too, I prefer a woman, because women have different things going on that a man might not understand. So I mean, make sure you are interviewing them. There's plenty of ways to go on your insurance website and check them out. And then you can call and make an appointment and say, I would like to just interview them. So that's not a whole hour. It's like a few questions. I just want to ask you a few questions, see if we fit, and then choose whether or not that's something you want to do. Medicine does not have to be the first thing.
Okay. And was all of this covered under your insurance, the times that you were doing the interviews and, meeting and talking to these different
And I mean, some practices will let you just schedule an interview. It could be virtual, and that way it's now no cost. And so if you have insurance, you can use your EAP benefit, which is 5 free visits first. And that way you get a rapport and you be like, no, this ain't working for me. So that's another way to do it. low cost.
Okay. Is there anything else that you would like to share or shout anyone out or say anything, about your business or anything that you want to say for people that may be suffering with these different disorders? Is there anything you want to
Um,
say to them today?
I would say be your true authentic self, because trying to hold in the fact that I don't want to go, but my friend is making me go, or I'm
Mm.
tired of canceling my plans, or I feel fat, or trying to hold in all the things that could come with thinking something's wrong with you or actually knowing something wrong with you is a lot more pressure than saying, you know what, I don't want to go. I ain't feeling it today. Hit me up next week, maybe. Just be honest. Either they respect you or they don't, and if they don't, they might not need to be in your circle. So break the stigma for you, because you may break the stigma for someone else.
Well, you know what? You have truly inspired and enlightened me on a whole lot of different things, especially something that like is very near and dear to me, especially like younger people.
Mm-hmm.
When I hear like some, I won't like calling names or anything, but some people who are in their late teens, early 20s, it seems like they're at a point where they don't know what to do and where to go.
Yes.
Excuse me. And they
My
don't know,
daughter's 22.
right. And they don't know how to advocate for
Mm-hmm.
themselves. And
Mm-hmm.
it's so tough to hear.
It is. It's very tough. My daughter is awesome, and I am so grateful. But she had to learn at a young age. She had to learn. I don't want to take this. You can't make me take this. This is what I'm going to do instead. And she learned that by just watching me tell the doctor, we ain't doing this.
Mhm.
There has to be another way. I mean, at one time she was like on 7 medications, and we're like, no,
Oh,
we got to find another way to get this down. Because I mean, that's why she doesn't want to take medication, because they were trying everything and they were really over medicating her. So we had to step up and be like, she don't want them. And because she don't want them, I'm there. We ain't doing it. Because some people will be like, I mean, I even had social services try to take my daughter from me because I wouldn't let them do what they wanted. They literally were like, we would like for you to put her in foster care because we can't move because you're in the way. And I'm like, well, you next wrong person in. I ain't going nowhere. My child gonna get what we want. And we did.
I mean, it's just the sheer audacity
Yes.
of someone to come into your home and they see that you're trying to help your child. It'd be different if they came to your home and your child looked like she's been abused or mistreated in any way, and you're saying to them, you're over medicating her. She's walking around like a zombie. She's not acting like her normal self. We need to figure out something to do to help her. And they were talking about taking her away.
And it
That's
made me feel so bad, because what if it was a parent who didn't know better? Or what if it was a
right.
parent who wasn't as knowledgeable as I, and they were like, oh, well, it's gonna help my child better. Here you go. Mm-mm. They try and test us. They try and play in our face, and we have to be vigilant that we know what's best for our children and we know what's best for ourselves. Don't let nobody get you.
That's a whole
You got to be like, come back later. I got to read about this. I got to check some things. Don't let nobody get you, because they will try and pressure you in the moment.
There will. I thank you so much, for your transparency and your openness and your willingness to talk about, these disorders that mainly in our community that's kind of hush hush, you don't talk about that. That's, a secret that, nobody should know about that outside of the home. I'm glad that you're bringing that to the light and you're allowing folks to see that it's okay,
Mhm.
that you will be fine and you
Yes.
can live normally and you
Mhm.
can, you can do great things.
Mhm.
There's nothing, holding you back because you're the poster child for it.
That
You're,
is
you're
true.
showing
That is
it
true.
that it can be done.
Mhm.
All right. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And thank you all for watching this episode 54. Make up your mind on embracing the fight. Have an absolutely amazing day.